What's going on? It's your host, CJ Wilson of DoakTalk. Hope you guys are having a pretty good weekend. As you guys know, like I've been stating in these videos, we're in the middle of our pre-spring positional breakdowns. Now we get to my favorite position on the entire football field and the best athletes on the football field. This isn't up for debate. Debate anybody who you want. Defensive backs, specifically the cornerbacks. The hardest position to play in football. The best athletes on the football field. If you guys hear any bias coming from my way, forgive me, but I think it's some truth as well. But before we get started, one of our main sponsors for DoakTalk is the best realtor in Florida, Jabril. Jude is a realtor in Southwest Florida, but services the entire state of Florida. If you're trying to buy or sell your home, definitely reach out to Jude. If you're trying to buy or sell your home, Jude is definitely willing to give you some of the closing costs and donate that back to you. And Jude is also willing to donate some of the proceeds of the buy or sell to the Battles End Collective. Like I said, NOLES like to help out NOLES. You can reach out to Jude at www.homesfornoles.com. Again, www.homesfornoles.com. Check the website out and get some more information and reach out to Jude if you're trying to buy or sell a home. All right, guys, let's jump right into it. The defensive backs. Like I said, my favorite position group by far. I guess you guys could see my excitement within talking about the DBs. The first corner off the board that we're talking about is Azareye'h Thomas, uber athletic cornerback out of the Niceville area. Love this kid, man. Love this kid. As you guys know, last year he was pretty much our third cornerback within the defensive back room. Played a lot of snaps for us, whether it's rotating for Ronaldo Green, Fentrell Cypress, whatever it may be. He was very highly regarded within the FSU secondary within Patrick Surtain. Had 29 tackles last year, 4.5 tackles for loss, and 10 pass breakups. 10 pass breakups as a rotational guy within the secondary as a true sophomore year is very impressive. As far as potential and things like that, AZ potential-wise, he's an NFL draft pick. He's an NFL player. Uber athletic, great size, standing around 6'1", 190 pounds. Physical. He just has the stature of an NFL corner. I think AZ will be a high draft pick next year. I really think he's on track this upcoming year. He's going to put a lot of people on notice and compete for being the best cornerback in the ACC. He has all the tools. Very excited about him, his athletic ability, and what he brings to the table. Another year to get better and get developed by Coach Pat Surtain, who last year was in his first year as coaching defensive backs. But again, AZ was one of the better defensive backs in the conference last year, and just being a backup guy, being the third cornerback off the bench. So again, like I said, 6'1", 190 pounds, 4.5 tackles for loss, which is very impressive for a corner. You have the physical attributes. You have the physical mindset. He's a physical player by nature. A bigger guy, as you guys remember back in high school, he was a top 100 type of player, played safety and cornerback. Has a lot of pedigree too, as well as his brothers played college football as well and played in the NFL too. I think AZ is next. He's going to be the next DB in line, the next great DB rather, in line for the long tradition and history of defensive back university. AZ Azareye'h Thomas, he's going to have a big year. He's going to be a household name at the end of the year. You could mark that down and book it now. This kid is going to be one of the better cornerbacks in the ACC and one of the better cornerbacks in the nation, competing for, a high draft pick within the 2025 NFL draft. Moving on to the next corner, Fentrell Cypress. What more can I say about Fentrell? A savvy vet, has been around a long time, going back from his days at Virginia. Had a pretty good year last year for FSU. The year before that for Virginia, he's one of the hottest players within the country in the transfer portal, leading the ACC conference in 14 pass breakups. Had 40 tackles and 8 pass breakups this past season for FSU. And this is playing within a new system, getting familiar with the style of defense that FSU runs. If you guys watched last year, we put a lot of pressure on our corners. It's kind of similar, not exactly similar, but kind of similar to what we saw in Mickey Andrews, right? Have a great defensive line, get pressure on the quarterback, things like that, create havoc, and have guys in the back end that can cover man-to-man and be uber athletic. And like I said, cover these dynamic type receivers. We played man, or a variation of man, rather, damn near 80% of the snaps last year. So it was an adjustment period for Fentrell, but he still played very well for FSU. Didn't give up any long passes. I can't remember any touchdowns that AZ may have gave up. He gave up a couple up underneath throws on first downs and things like that. But anything deep, it was locked down. And then the midpoint of the season to the third, fourth quarter, he really got comfortable. You could start seeing that confidence with the play of Fentrell Cypress. So again, I think he's going to build off last year and have a very, very good year this upcoming year for FSU. More comfortable within the system. If you guys remember that play against Pittsburgh, and this play wasn't even on him, but it was a long. He has a lot of effort, right? Doesn't quit till the play is over. Prime example was a long pass play against Pittsburgh, where where Fentrell and the safety was covering. The safety ended up taking the wrong route, was underneath route versus getting deep for the deep post. Long story short, you guys, he was a long pass play to Pittsburgh. The receiver was damn near running in to score the touchdown, like a 70-yard touchdown. Fentrell rather did not quit on the play. Played through the whistle, not necessarily played through the whistle, played through the rest of the snap. He could have easily gave up and let the kid score a touchdown. But again, played through, ended up forcing a fumble at the goal line prior to the receiver scoring a touchdown and recovering the fumble. So you end up going from a touchdown for Pittsburgh to a turnover on downs for Pittsburgh in FSU's favor due to hustle. So again, I think Fentrell is going to have an excellent year this year. Again, year 2 in the system, more comfortable, more experience, better coaching with Patrick Surtain within year 2. So I think AZ and Fentrell Cypress will be the best cornerback duo in the ACC, and it probably won't even be close. I can't think of any returning corners that's in the realm of those two. We have both of those guys on the same team. It just makes things even better. So, they're going to show next year pretty much why FSU is a standard for defensive backs in college football and why we call ourselves DBU amongst other people outside of FSU fan base, noticing the DBU trend as well. Moving on, Greedy Vance, another guy that played a lot of football for FSU. He was one of our main nickel guys last year, rotating a lot with Jabril Jones. Jabril is gone, so he's probably going to take over that role more in a full-time capacity. Again, physical kid, very physical. What Greedy lacks in stature, he's on the smaller side, around 170 pounds. He has in confidence and the physical nature. Whenever you hear kids talk about being a dog and things like that, that's what Greedy Vance is, the epitome of that. He's a dog. Physical guy, doesn't mind getting in the mix, being making tackles, jamming receivers, getting in your grill. This being that type of nuisance and physical presence that you should be when you're on the smaller size with stature. Again, this is going into his 3rd year at FSU, transferring from Louisville, played a lot of football for FSU, 4 career interceptions. So again, a lot of experience within his secondary coming back for the 2024 season. A lot of experience mixed in with a lot of talent. So again, you're going to have a lot of big time players for FSU. So Greedy Vance, like I said, 4 career picks at FSU. Look for him to have a bigger role this upcoming year with the departure of Jabril Jones, who had an all-world year last year, and it's probably going to end up getting drafted to the NFL. So shout out to Jabril Jones, another addition of DBU. Played some good ball, tested well at the combine. Now it's time for Greedy Vance to step into that role. This next tier, so to speak, of cornerbacks that we're going to talk about is indicative of the future, right? Showing what we have at FSU and what we have to show moving forward with the defensive back room. We're going to talk about some freshman classes from last year and this upcoming class. The first guy I'm going to speak about is Quindarrius Jones, 6'2", 191 pounds, out of Mississippi. Played in 10 games last year for FSU. And this guy, I think he's going to be special. He's one of those unicorns at cornerback. One of those, I'm not saying he's Antonio Cromartie athletic, because Antonio Cromartie is arguably the most athletic defensive back to come through FSU. Him and Deion Sanders are pretty much 1 and 2, in my opinion, as far as just pure athletes. But from a physical size perspective, in chasing that prototype cornerback, this is what you have in Quindarrius Jones. 6'2", 190 pounds, very athletic kid out of Mississippi, the SIP area. He was a low-rated 3-star, but there was a lot of hype within his athletic ability and what he can do. And he showed some of that last year within FSU. If you look at the kid and just look at the games he played, he looked like a veteran, like a junior, senior from a physical stature. He was only a true freshman. The coaching staff is very high on this kid. I think he has a lot of good ball ahead of him. He's going to be a star for FSU once that time comes. Look for his snaps to increase this year. And he's probably, I don't want to say a lot, but he's in a very good position to be within the 2 deep of the defensive back room and being one of the first cornerbacks off the bench. And as you guys know, rotate cornerbacks a lot. We're just speaking about it with AZ, how he played a lot of snaps for FSU last year in 2023. Look for a similar transition for Quindarrius Jones. Jabril Rawls is another true freshman deep, well, not necessarily true freshman, another freshman defensive back from the 2024 recruiting cycle. From Pensacola, 6'1", 170 pounds. You're starting to hear a trend with size for these defensive backs that Pat Surtain is bringing in, right? A lot of these guys are 6 foot, 6 foot plus, a lot of size, a lot of length. So we're going to see a different type of athlete within the defensive back room, and these last couple classes are starting to show that for FSU. But again, Jabril Rawls, another guy that's very athletic, that the staff is pretty high on. You look for him to compete for playing time this year, and like I said, try to be within that 2 deep and lock down a backup cornerback spot position. Edwin Joseph, another defensive back from the 2024 class out of Chaminade. You guys know it's an area recruited pretty heavily, 6 foot, 190 pounds. Played around 3 to 4 games last year for FSU, ended up taking the red shirt. He got hurt for FSU early on in the season, was battling some injuries. Well, this is a kid that I was pretty high on coming out of high school as well, Ended up beating the Miami Hurricanes and the Louisville Cardinals for his services. Played both ways. This is a kid that has a lot of talent. So look for him to build on that talent this upcoming season or this upcoming spring, and that translate to the 2024 season. Now let's talk about the true freshmen that are already on campus and competing for playing time right now. We brought in 3 cornerbacks this past recruiting cycle. You can never have enough corners, right? How the transfer portal works, of course, right? 1. 2, the number of defensive backs that you use on a daily basis when within the game. You guys know your nickel defensive back is pretty much your starter now. You're pretty much starting three cornerbacks or defensive back, 5 defensive backs in total on the field, and you're rotating a lot of guys. So you got to bring these guys in at a premium pretty much every damn year. And FSU did that this past cycle. The best recruit within that 2024 cycle, 25 cycle, from 24 cycle, my apologies, the 2024 cycle, the best recruit for the defensive back perspective was Charles Lester. 4-star, 5-star, depending on what service you're looking at. Cornerback out of the Sarasota area. This kid is on campus now competing for playing time. A lot of early reviews in regards to how he's been working on things like that. I do think Charles Lester needs to beef up, but again, that's nothing to worry about. He has a workman's mindset, and he's linked up with Coach Storm, so we'll see those returns fairly soon in regards to his body changing over the years. But again, a lot of talent. We're a 6 foot corner, another 6 foot plus corner, right? So you're seeing the trend. A lot of talent, a lot of athletic ability. Look for Charles Lester to try to make a name for himself and compete for playing time as a true freshman. 2 other true freshmen that FSU ended up getting on the recruiting trail that are very highly regarded, very good. I think FSU brought in the best cornerback class within the country last year without a question. If they ended up keeping a guy like KJ Boulder within the range, so they've probably been the best defensive back class overall without question. But again, very good defensive back class. Kai Bates, defensive back, cornerback from the Orlando area. Again, another 6+ corner. He was originally committed to LSU. Chose LSU originally over Alabama, Tennessee, FSU, Florida, and others. Ended up backing off that commitment at the tail end of the season and opened things back up and committed to FSU after a great 2023 season, and just seeing how the defensive backs played in year 1 under Patrick Surtain. A lot of athletic ability here too. This kid is new to the game, new to the cornerback position rather. He played receiver in basketball. He played receiver pretty much throughout his entire career in basketball as well. His junior year was his first year playing cornerback, and he stood out. Athletic traits are off the chart. If he could get coached up and get developed more as he's new to the position, the sky's the limit for Kai Bates. Last but not least, Jamari Howard, 4-star defensive back out of Miami, 6'2", right? Again, there's a trend. 6'2" guy, long arms, ran track as well, ran sub 50 in the 400 meters. As you guys know, that's a man's race. If you can run the 400 meters, you can do a lot of damn things, and ran sub 50 in the 400 meter. Another guy that's very athletic as well was committed to Michigan State early in the process, and Mel Tucker ended up backing off his commitment to Michigan State, and FSU ended up beating out the Florida Gators in Michigan State for his services. From the Miami area, again, FSU's making a statement in South Florida too. But again, big-time playmaker. Look for him to compete for playing time this year, but just look for him to compete for playing time. If he doesn't play, if any of these freshmen don't play, that's not an indictment or thing. Like I said, we're loaded at defensive back. It's just how it goes. Look for those guys to build and be cornerstones in the future. Again, this is my favorite position group by far. As you guys know, you can see the excitement. I think FSU, the cornerback position, is going to take a leap forward and be better than they were in 2023. You guys ask, how the hell could we be better in 2024 than we were in 2023? When the 2023 group was damn good. Renardo Green, Jerry Jones, et cetera, et cetera. Well, again, we're in year 2 of Patrick Surtain, right? So year 2 and these guys knowing exactly what Pat wants from his cornerbacks and just getting coached up by him, getting more development out of him for another year. And from a talent standpoint, Fentrell Cypress was the starter last year. He's going to end up being better from this past year to this upcoming year. And AZ was he was the most talented cornerback within the defensive back room last year. Regardless of starting. So again, you build on that talent and develop AZ, and he becomes his own. And then also, he's changed his number from number 20 to number 8. You guys know it's a lot of defensive backs that were number 8 from FSU in the past that made a lot of plays. Brian McFadden, a friend of the show who we had on earlier. Of course, Jalen Ramsey changed his number from number 13 the true freshman year to number 8 those last 2 years. And most recently, Renardo Green had one of the better years last year in the ACC as a cornerback, is going to end up being a pretty good draft pick for the NFL. So he transitioned to that number 8. So look for a big time year for AZ. So like I said, overall, this position group could be better than 2023. We'll see how it plays out. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. And we also have a new membership tier that you guys can join. So go ahead and hit that link and join the DoakTalk membership. Go Noles.